Five Nights at Freddy's. Developed by Scott Cawthon in 2014 as a point-and-click horror game, Five Nights at Freddy's has quickly become one of the most popular franchises. With 9 games, 27 books, an upcoming movie, and about 1 million toys, it's safe to say that Five Nights at Freddy's, or FNAF, is extremely popular. But how did this franchise get so popular? There really isn't much to do in terms of gameplay. It's mostly just looking at cameras, checking doors, and getting jump scared. Well, if you look past its gameplay, it has an incredibly complicated story featuring child abduction, possessed animatronics, and a serial killer at the heart of it all. And it's a story that no one can really agree on how it's supposed to be told. While there are key events that happen like the Bite of 87 and the opening and closing of multiple locations, how they all connect in a way that makes sense is an entirely different story, which only adds to its popularity since fans are constantly engaged in discussions and arguments about the events and what really happened. Now, I never really got into Five Nights at Freddy's when it first came out. I mean, I kept up with it online through Let's Plays and other videos, but I never really wanted to play them myself, mainly because I'm not a fan of horror games and I don't like games that feature a lot of jump scares, which is one of the cornerstones of FNAF. That all changed, however, when I heard of their newest game, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, which would be a brand new open world experience and be one of the largest games in the series. It seemed too big to pass up, and it fully piqued my curiosity, so I bought it the day of release and played it, and gave up on it about halfway through. While I really like what I played, the several bugs I ran into made it difficult to enjoy, and as soon as I hit my first game-breaking glitch, I decided to back out until it received some patches, and it stayed there in my Steam library for over a year. That is until recently when I gave it another try, and you know what? I actually finished it. In fact, I got most of the endings in the game and had fun doing it. But even after finishing it, I still felt something was off. Like, yeah, I finally beat it, but something just didn't feel right. So I did some thinking and realized what it was. It was the ending that the game considered canon. It kinda sucked. Which is odd because one of the alternate endings felt like the real ending because it wraps up the story more cleanly. But it wasn't considered canon. How is that possible? So that's what I want to talk about today. That maybe the ending that we all consider canon might not actually be the real ending. Could have just been a bait and switch, a mistake, a last minute change made during development, or could there possibly be a deeper meaning behind it? That's the question I wanted to answer today. What is the true ending of FNAF Security Breach? But before I can even talk about this game, I should first explain the story of Five Nights at Freddy's. After all, there are 8 other games with a story to lead us to where we are. The recap I'm going to give is how I understand the main story. Some people may agree or disagree with how I see things, but this is the version that I'm going to be using going forward. Our story begins sometime in the 1970s with 2 guys, Henry Emily and William Afton. Henry has a daughter named Charlotte, and William has a wife and 3 kids named Michael, Elizabeth, and Crying Child. We'll get into that later. Henry and William both work as animatronic designers at a restaurant called Fredbear's Family Diner, which specializes in hosting children's birthday parties with singing animatronics similar to Chuck E. Cheese. The duo designed 2 animatronics for the restaurant, a golden bear named Freddy, and a golden rabbit named Bonnie. Now, these animatronics are different than the ones you've seen before, because while they are freestanding, they can also be worn like a regular costume by tightening the spring locks that hold them up enough for a person to fit inside. However, these spring locks aren't super reliable, and have a tiny problem of snapping back into place when they get a little too wet, which is not good for anything, or anyone, inside of them. One day, Fredbear's Family Diner is hosting a birthday party that Henry's daughter Charlotte is attending. During the party, she accidentally gets locked outside of the restaurant. While she is trapped outside, a mysterious car pulls up and a purple man comes out and proceeds to kill her. Who is this mysterious purple man? Henry's co-partner, William Afton. Why did he do this? Well, the current theory is he did it based off of jealousy, because Henry was much smarter and more successful than William was, but it's still up for debate why he actually decided to start murdering children. So William Afton is never caught as the murderer, and Fredbear's Family Diner closes down for a while after all the bad publicity surrounding the murder. Henry, depressed from the loss of his only daughter, shuts himself out from the rest of the world, and the parent company to Fredbear's rebrands themselves as Fazbear Entertainment, adding several new animatronics to the roster and trying to change their image away from the one associated with the murders. Along with a non-golden version of Bonnie and Freddy, we also have a chicken named Chica and a pirate fox named Foxy, and with these 4 animatronics comes a brand new restaurant, Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. So now we have 2 separate restaurants that are open with animatronics. Fredbear's Family Diner with our 2 golden animatronics, and Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria with our 4 new animatronics. William is now spending more time at the restaurant working on the animatronics and away from his family at home. So his children start spending more time at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria so they can be closer to their father. It is here that we learn that his youngest son is terrified of the animatronics and is constantly crying in fear when he's around them, which is why he has the nickname the Crying Child. His older brother Michael starts scaring his younger brother even more by wearing a foxy mask and jumping out to terrorize him. Michael goes too far, however, when during his younger brother's birthday party at Fredbear's Family Diner, Michael and his friends decide to force his brother to get closer and closer to one of the animatronics, before they stick him right in his mouth. His crying causes the spring locks to loosen and the animatronic's jaw slams shut, causing his brother to die in an event that is known as the Bite of 83. After yet another death at Fredbear's Family Diner, Fazbear Entertainment decides to shut the restaurant down, and the Golden Bonnie and Golden Freddy costumes are deemed too dangerous to keep around. So, they ship them to Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria to be stored in a back storage room never to be seen again. Several years later, at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, 5 kids go missing and rumors start circulating about the restaurant. I'm sure it won't come as a surprise to who's causing all the disappearances. That's right. Charlotte's killer and the purple guy himself, William Afton. Disguising himself with the Golden Bonnie suit that was shipped from Fredbear's, William Afton lures kids into the back storage room where he kills them and stuffs their bodies inside the animatronics. After several weeks though, the animatronics start to have a terrible smell and start oozing blood and mucus. The police then open an investigation into Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria and it shuts down. With Freddy's shut down, William decides it's time for him to take center stage and open his own restaurant. He develops a new line of animatronics called the Funtime Animatronics, which feature several new characters including Funtime Foxy, Funtime Freddy, and some more human-looking characters like the dancing ballerina named Ballora and the star of them all, a small girl named Circus Baby. The new restaurant is named Circus Baby's Pizza World and was to act as a sister location to the original restaurant Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. And Circus Babies does open. For one day. See, they were designed by William Afton to help him with his other hobby of part-time murdering. These new features included voice-changing software so the animatronics could mimic the voices of other adults, and a child capture unit so the animatronics could capture unsuspecting children and bring them to William Afton. And it would have worked out too, except for one minor flaw. See, William's daughter Elizabeth really wanted to see the new Circus Baby animatronic, and, against her father's wishes, gets a little too close to Circus Baby and is then attacked and killed by the animatronic. Yep, not once, but twice, William Afton's kids are killed by the animatronics that he created. Unsurprisingly, this does very little to slow down William Afton or Fazbear Entertainment, because in 1987, Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria reopens with a bigger, better restaurant and brand new toy versions of the original animatronics. These new animatronics are smaller, cuter, and have advanced facial recognition software tied to several police databases of wanted criminals. Well, at least it looks like they're trying to learn from their mistakes. However, these new security features don't help much because William Afton, using the same Golden Bonnie suit, kills 5 more kids and the new Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria shuts down. But right before they close on their last birthday, one of the animatronics bites and kills the daytime security guard, causing what is known as the Bite of 87. And it's here I should probably mention why all the animatronics are so violent towards people. Remember Fredbear's Family Diner? Well, there was actually a third animatronic at that location designed by Henry himself. A security puppet designed to keep all the kids safe, specifically his daughter Charlotte. However, after his daughter goes missing, the security puppet goes outside to look for her, where it discovers her lifeless body out in the pouring rain before it collapses next to her. Charlotte's soul is unable to rest because she is still confused and hurting from what happened, and it finds its way into the security puppet where she vows to protect anyone else from William Afton. Charlotte then helps the souls of William's other victims find new life in the other animatronics. We see this in the Secret Give Life minigame, where we see her spirit going to each of the children's souls and giving them new life in the animatronics. She is protecting the spirits from the confusion and anger that they are feeling. So, let's do a quick recap of where everyone's soul ended up. The first 5 victims of the original Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria incident are in the 4 original animatronics and the Golden Freddy suit. The Golden Freddy suit actually has 2 spirits inside of it. one of them being William's son, the crying child, and the second being a girl named Cassidy, who is furious at William. Elizabeth Afton's soul also ended up in Circus Baby, but we'll get more into that later. The second Freddy Fazbear's location closes down. The toy animatronics are all scrapped. You'd think after all the dead kids in the closed restaurants they'd go out of business, but nope, Fazbear Entertainment decides yet again to open another restaurant. You gotta give them credit, they are dedicated to make this work. They reopened the first Freddy Fazbear restaurant with the original 4 animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, and is here we finally see the events of the game that started it all, the very first Five Nights at Freddy's. In Scott Cawthon's defense, I seriously doubt he had this entire story planned out when he first created the game in 2014. The new restaurant doesn't stay open for long, however. People just have a hard time forgetting all the death surrounding the franchise, and it quickly shuts down again. Several years after the restaurant closes down, it has fallen into a state of disrepair. One night, William Afton sneaks into the restaurant and starts dismantling all the old animatronics. Little does he know, by dismantling them, he has just released the souls of all of his victims who are angry and looking for revenge. William, trying to hide from the spirits, quickly hides inside his golden Bonnie suit, which would have helped, except for one small problem. Remember those spring locks I told you about that don't do well when wet? Well, his golden Bonnie suit has basically been left in the back of this restaurant that has been falling apart with peeling wallpaper, moldy floors, and a leaky roof. Yeah, I think you know where this is all going. The spring locks in the suit fail, snapping back into place, causing William Afton to be trapped in the suit, left to suffer and bleed out, which would have been a fitting end to this killer. With William Afton dealt with, the puppet is able to help release the souls trapped in the other animatronics, as now they are finally able to rest. A fitting conclusion to the Five Nights at Freddy's story. Wait, what? There's still 4 more games we haven't talked about. No, that can't be right. All the characters' stories have concluded. William was killed in the spring Bonnie suit. Henry's daughter Charlotte was able to free the spirits of the other kids. It was implied that Crying Child and Elizabeth's spirits were also laid to rest with the other kids. William's wife, well, she was there. Who's left to talk about? William's oldest son, Michael. Oh yeah, I kind of forgot about him after the whole brother murder thing. What's he been up to? It turns out, Michael's actually been pretty busy. See, sometime after Elizabeth's disappearance, Michael decides to go looking for his sister. His father gives him a job helping him maintain the other animatronics that he has, and tells him that if he keeps working, he'll find the clues to his missing sister. See, even though the Circus Baby restaurant was a flop, William was renting out the Funtime animatronics to parties and other events to keep the business going. While Michael's working at his dad's business, he learns that his father has been murdering children and that their souls have been possessing the other animatronics, including the soul of his sister, who now resides inside Circus Baby. But before he has a chance to stop his father, he is tricked by an animatronic called Ennard, who is an amalgamation of all the other Funtime animatronics, including Circus Baby, into a place called the Scooping Room, where he gets his insides violently ripped out of him, and then Ennard is able to take over what is left of his body. With Michael now dead, Ennard is free to use his body to escape the facility and walk around freely outside. That is, until Michael's body starts to decay. It develops a terrible odor, and his skin even starts turning purple. Realizing his body is no longer useful, Ennard hops out of it and escapes to the sewers. That is, until Michael gets back up. Yeah, turns out Michael's actually alive, despite having all of his internal organs ripped out of his body and having an animatronic wear his skin for a while. So, completely traumatized and confused, Michael decides to set out and find his father to get some answers and set the souls free of all the children that William has killed over the years. He applies as the nighttime security guard at all the various Freddy Fazbear locations, so he does not raise any suspicions that he is basically a walking corpse with purple skin. However, he does not have much luck finding his father, and is constantly fired from all of his jobs due to him tampering with the other animatronics and having such a foul odor. This goes on for many years, until one day he hears about a brand new attraction opening up called Fazbear Frights. See, Freddy's had developed a bit of a reputation after all the disappearances, and some folks decided to capitalize on it by opening a horror-themed attraction around the disappearance and the rumors surrounding Fazbear Entertainment. Michael applies and gets a job where he finds out that the owner was able to find one old animatronic, a green decaying rabbit. It turns out William Afton is still alive, and he's been stuck inside that Spring Bonnie suit, writhing away in pain this entire time, while the suit rotted away and turned a sickly green color. William, kept alive by his anger and his determination to live, is now called Springtrap and has been unleashed upon the world once again. Once Michael finds out that Springtrap is in fact his father, he burns the building to the ground with Springtrap still inside, hoping to once and for all rid the world of his father. This does not work. Meanwhile, Henry Emily, William Afton's old business partner at the very beginning of the story, who has shut himself out from the world for the last 20 years, has figured out that not only has William Afton been killing kids, he's also responsible for the death of his daughter Charlotte and is still alive. He comes up with a plan to stop William once and for all and hopefully put the souls of all the other children to rest. Henry opens up his very own pizzeria and hires Michael as a security guard to round up all the remaining animatronics, including Springtrap. So which animatronics are left? Well, there's Ennard, who is donned a Freddy suit and is now known as Molten Freddy, Michael's sister Elizabeth, who got kicked out of the Ennard group at some point and has apparently recreated her original body out of trash and is now known as Scrap Baby. Henry's daughter Charlotte is still possessing the puppet and is trying to save the children's souls, but has been captured in a special animatronic suit and brought back to the restaurant, and Springtrap, who's looking a lot worse for wear after the fire. Once all the animatronics are in the same place, Michael seals all the doors and Henry sets the building ablaze before he says his final goodbye to his daughter.
I couldn't save you then, so let me save you now. It's time to rest, for you, and for those you have carried in your arms. This ends, for all of us, in communication.
And with that, all the souls can finally be put to rest. Except one. Remember Cassidy, the other soul that was inside the Golden Freddy suit? Well, she isn't satisfied with William just being dead. He caused her and so many others so much pain that he doesn't get the easy way out. She traps him in an eternal hell where she'll continue to torture and kill him with the same animatronics that he created, killing him over and over again with no end in sight. And with that, the Five Nights at Freddy's story is finally over. What? The other William Afton? There is no other William Afton. His body got burned up twice, and his soul is trapped in hell with Cassidy. There's no way he can still be alive. An evil computer virus? What does that have to do with William? So, it turns out there is a second William Afton. Kinda. Trust me, this is gonna get really crazy really fast. So, a rogue indie game developer made a series of video games based on the murders and events of the Five Nights at Freddy's series. Yep, the same games that we've been talking about this whole time actually exist in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe as video games that are proven to be extremely popular with people theorizing about what really happened with all the disappearances. So, Fazbear Entertainment decides to create their own VR video game to discredit this rogue indie game developer and poke fun at all the rumors and also try to save some face with the public. This VR game being called Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted. At some point during the VR game's development, the programmers decided to use old circuit boards they found at the other Freddy Fazbear's locations to incorporate the code into their new games. However, these old circuit boards also contained a virus that was William Afton's consciousness. This consciousness begins to construct itself as an entity known as Glitchtrap, who is a completely digital copy of Springtrap, who is also William Afton. Throughout the game, we learn that Glitchtrap has slowly been brainwashing the game testers until he finds a reluctant follower known only as Vanny. Glitchtrap possesses her body, trapping her consciousness in the process. And with all that, we can finally talk about the newest game, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. Security Breach starts with this amazing intro where we are introduced to our brand new cast of animatronics, Montgomery Gator, Roxanne Wolf, Glamrock Chica, and the main man himself, Freddy Fazbear, as they are performing a show at the brand new Pizzaplex. This is short-lived, however, as Freddy has a malfunction and collapse during his performance. We then find ourselves in Freddy's dressing room where we discover that he isn't alone. There is a small boy that has stowed himself away within Freddy's chest cavity. Yep, we have a 2-minute intro musical number to introduce all the animatronics, but we don't get any kind of explanation to who this kid is or why he's here. All that we find out is that his name is Gregory and that he's trying to escape the Pizzaplex before it's locked down for the night at 12 a.m. We also find out that he's being hunted by the nighttime security guard named Vanessa. Freddy agrees to help Gregory and the two race to the exit, only to just barely miss it closing, trapping them inside the Pizzaplex until 6 a.m. The duo then explore the Pizzaplex looking for a way out while being hunted by the other 3 animatronics, an army of security bots, and Vanessa herself. After a quick trip to the daycare and the parking garage to look for an exit, Gregory is then captured by Vanessa and locked inside the Lost and Found. This is where we're introduced to Vanny, the main villain of the game. We manage to escape Vanny only to find that Freddy missed his last recharge cycle because he was looking for us and is now in need of repairs. Gregory gets the key to parts and service where he repairs Freddy and then begins his quest of dismantling all the other animatronics so he can steal parts from them to upgrade Freddy. After he manages to dismantle 2 of the animatronics, the game suddenly snaps to life and goes, "Oh shoot, it's almost 6 a.m, you better run to the entrance." So you rush to the front door of the Pizzaplex and yeah, that's kind of it. You're presented with the choice of either leaving or staying to continue exploring the Pizzaplex and find one of the alternate endings. While the main story is basically over, it's the post-game and the alternate endings where we learn more about what's going on in the overall story. If you pick to leave at 6 a.m, we find out that Gregory is actually homeless and doesn't have anywhere to go. We learn from a newspaper that kids are still going missing around the Pizzaplex before Vanny finds us and abducts us, this being a bad ending. If we choose to disassemble Chica, then we are able to find Vanny's secret hideout and are given a third option to go after her. However, if we choose this option, Vanny uses the other animatronics to disassemble Freddy before we wrestle the controls from her and reprogram the animatronics to disassemble Vanny, giving us another bad ending where Freddy and Vanny die and Gregory is still left with nothing. If we manage to find all the hidden security badges throughout the Pizzaplex, then we're able to steal a car and drive away with Freddy. Not a whole lot really happens in this ending. Freddy's batteries die, but then we're able to give him a jump start with a car battery. That's basically it. If we find enough prizes and hidden collectibles throughout the Pizzaplex, we can get what's known as the arson ending, where Freddy burns the Pizzaplex to the ground, but not before fighting Vanny and throwing her off of the roof of the building. After Gregory and Freddy remove the rabbit mask, it is revealed that Vanny is actually Vanessa. But then we see that Vanessa is still trapped in the Pizzaplex. While this might be trying to tell us that Vanny and Vanessa are 2 different people, I think this symbolizes that while we were able to stop Vanny, Vanessa's spirit is still trapped by Glitchtrap, and now she has no means of being freed since her body has died. So, how do we get the good ending? Well, throughout the Pizzaplex, there are 3 hidden Princess Quest arcade cabinets. If you manage to find and complete them, you can actually save Vanessa from Glitchtrap's influence. How do random arcade cabinets do that? Well, let's take a look at the games. In Princess Quest 1, you play as a golden princess who is constantly being attacked by black rabbits and other enemies. As you progress, you find a big purple door that when opened, releases a giant black monster that attacks you before the game ends. In Princess Quest 2, you regain control of the same princess and are given a weapon to defend yourself and to go on the offensive. After fighting through several waves of enemies, you then find yourself in a security office similar to the one from the very first FNAF game. The game ends and then we're on our way to find Princess Quest 3, which is interestingly hidden in Vanny's lair. In Princess Quest 3, you play through a nightmarish recreation of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, where you collect a green rabbit plushie and a rabbit mask before the final area opens. The rabbit mask looks just like the one that Vanny uses, and the only other green rabbit we've seen is Springtrap. To me, this symbolizes that Vanny and William Afton are one and the same, since Vanny is under Glitchtrap's control, and Glitchtrap is a recreation of William Afton. Once we collect these items, we then go to the final area, which is a door that looks exactly like the one that Glitchtrap used to trap Vanessa before taking over her body. Once we open that door, we are then shown the good ending, where we find that Vanessa is finally free from Glitchtrap's control, Gregory and Freddy meet her outside the pizzeria, and the 3 of them sit on a hill enjoying ice cream together, a perfect way to end the story. Wait, what? This isn't considered the true ending to the game? But how? Vanessa, Gregory, and Freddy are all free from the Pizzaplex and Glitch Trap. It's the only 3-star ending, and we get this sweet after image of all them eating ice cream. So if this isn't the true ending, what is? Okay, so if after 6 a.m. you choose to dismantle the third animatronic, you can then use all 3 of their upgrades to find a secret elevator to go below the Pizzaplex. The elevator takes us to the ruins of the Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria that Henry built, that the new Pizzaplex was built on top of for some reason. You explore a bit before you find Springtrap? Yeah, so it turns out Springtrap is still alive and is now called Burntrap because he got all burned. We also find out that there's another animatronic living down here. That's the bodies of all the other animatronics and pieces of several other animatronics from the other games that have all melted together into a mass known as the Blob. You start a boss fight against Burntrap where you must fight off the other 3 animatronics and push buttons to set Burntrap on fire. After doing this a few times, the Blob drags Burntrap away before the entire building catches on fire and Gregory and Freddy run away. This is considered the true ending. Okay, I have several problems with this being the true ending over the other ending. For one thing, it really lessens the impact of what Henry did, considering it didn't stop William Afton, and it basically makes Cassidy's revenge non-canon, because how can she be keeping his soul trapped in hell if he's still alive? And what about Vanny and Glitch Trap? After 6 a.m., they're basically pulled out of the game entirely for a completely new villain, who, mind you, comes completely out of nowhere. I mean, I guess there's a couple of company emails you can find that vaguely mention something going on. They talk about how there's something drawing extra power under the restaurant and the idea that it was built over a sinkhole, but I really don't see how that's supposed to translate to William Afton is still alive and he's the true villain. It feels so forced and unnecessary. Why does this ending get to be considered the true ending other than William Afton is in it? Why couldn't it be the ending that better closes the story of Security Breach but still leaves the door open for potential sequels? Then I had a thought. What if we've been wrong this entire time? What if this isn't the actual ending to the game? I think the good ending where we free Vanessa from Vanny is the true ending for Security Breach and still sets up for the upcoming Ruin DLC. So why do I think the ending where you free Vanny is the correct ending? Well, from a storytelling perspective, it makes the most sense. Vanny is shown to be the one pulling the strings behind the scenes and is clearly set up to be our main villain. The game also does a really good job at lining her up to be the main villain. At the 1 a.m. mark, when we're in the recharge station with Freddy, we're first introduced to Vanny, where we see that she has some kind of an effect on us, and Freddy cannot see her at all. At 2 a.m., when we have our first encounter with her, she comes on the monitors and threatens us before we narrowly make our escape. We see that not only is she a threat like the other animatronics, but she's on a whole other level, based on the fact that she's able to hunt us down, and that she has a much stronger effect on us than the other animatronics do. She's the only one that causes our ears to ring and our vision to go blurry. We also know that she's much smarter than she lets on. Remember those 3 Princess Quest games that we need to free Vanessa from Vanny's control? 2 of them can easily be found throughout the Pizzaplex, but the 3rd one can only be found in Vanny's secret hideout. She's purposely hiding the key to stopping Vanny and she knows it. You aren't able to play the princess games out of order, and the one that's needed to stop Glitch Trap is the one that she's hidden. We can also see in both her good and bad endings that she has control of the security bots and is calling the other animatronics to stop you by the fact that she's able to have the security bots tear Freddy to pieces and have the main animatronics guarding the path to her hideout. It would also explain why there's always at least one main animatronic everywhere you're going. If she's able to use the cameras just like us, she can figure out where we're heading and make sure security is beefed up in that area. That would explain why some of the later areas, like the Roxy Raceway and the West Arcade, have more security bots, but the earlier areas like the front entrance have less. She is strategically moving them around to stop you and tell the other animatronics where to find you. We also know that she's been able to listen to our conversations with Freddy. When Freddy's in parts and services, before we enter, we see Vanessa speaking to Freddy and she says,
His Fazwatch kept repeating it, in your voice. Gregory, are you there? Gregory?
If she can hear you and Freddy say that you're heading to Blast, why wouldn't she send Chica to get you? I mean, the Pizzaplex is a huge place, and even if you don't alert the security bots, there's always at least one main animatronic in the area. How else would they know where to go? The three of them couldn't possibly scour every inch of the place by themselves before 6 a.m. So if Annie really wants you gone, why doesn't she go after you herself? Well, I believe that's what she tries to do at 2 a.m. before she realizes that capturing you is going to be a lot harder than she thought. The Pizzaplex is a massive place, and there are so many places that Gregory can hide that she'd never be able to catch him before 6 a.m. on her own. That's why after 2 a.m. we really don't see her anymore, because she knows that from her command station in the security office, she has an army of robots at her command that she can use against us. She's acting strategically because she knows that Gregory is stuck in the building, but only for a limited time, so she needs to use that to her advantage before time is up and he's free to leave. Vanny is clearly set up to be the main villain, and saving her from Glitch Trap makes the most sense. In Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted, when we're first introduced to Glitch Trap, the digital version of William Afton, we learn that he's able to control people's bodies and force them to do his bidding. Security Breach is the first time we can really see the extent of what he can do. I mean, look at the length she's willing to go to stop a child from escaping. She's relentlessly hunting us throughout the night, even threatening the other animatronics with being scrapped if they don't obey her.
If you're part of this, you're scrap. Monty will run the shows until Parts and Service can slap your casing on a new endo.
She is on a mission to stop us, and it's why it's so much more impactful when we find out that she's not in control of her own actions. She's just another victim of William Afton. Now let's look at the burntrap ending. While we do learn what happens after the events of Five Nights at Freddy's Pizzeria Simulator, finding out that Springtrap survived the fire opens up an entirely new can of worms. First, it really undermines the ending to find out that while the rest of the spirits are put to rest, William Afton is still alive. It makes a nice, neat ending a lot messier. And it also makes the boss fight against him feel even more pointless. I mean, fire couldn't kill him twice, so we're gonna try again with fire? Third time's the charm, I guess. And what about Vanny? How does her story end if this option is taken? Well, it doesn't. We never find out what happens to Vanessa, or even if she gets freed. This ending is exactly the same as the free Vanessa ending, except it only has Gregory and Freddy sitting on the hill. It's like they knew this ending of our character sitting on the hill watching the sunrise was a great way to end the story, so they just copied that ending, minus Vanessa. So is this just another ending like the arson or getaway driver ending, or just a way to shoehorn in William Afton? Well, I think it can serve a different purpose. What if the burntrap ending teases the upcoming Ruin DLC and maybe even the next game? We know that William Afton is still alive, but he really doesn't seem that concerned with Gregory. If he does, then why does Vanessa lock us in the Lost and Found at 2 a.m. instead of bringing us straight to him? Also, since Vanessa proved that she can hear what Freddy is saying to Gregory, and William has the ability to hack into Freddy like we see in the final boss fight, then why doesn't he do it sooner? He knows Freddy and Gregory are constantly around each other. Why doesn't he wait until Gregory climbs inside Freddy and then has Freddy charge the basement with Gregory inside like he intended the Funtime animatronics to do? I believe it's because while the fire didn't kill William Afton, it left him in a severely weakened state. I mean, the first fire took his arm and severely damaged his body. Imagine what a second one would do. I think he's been spending his time recovering from the events of the previous game, and we happened upon him before he's had a chance to fully recover. We know that he's been recovering because we can see he's acquired several new parts and that his missing arm has now been replaced. He also emerges from a recharge station and shows that he has a lot more mechanical parts that need power like we see with Freddy, based on his design having almost no human parts anymore. He's becoming more reliant on power stations and batteries to stay alive and functioning than he did in the previous games. So what's William's plan after he finishes repairing himself? Well, I think that's going to be the focus of the Ruin DLC, and I think the teaser for it supports this theory. Let's take a look at the teaser image we have so far. Starting with the overall image, we can see a blonde-haired little girl, Chica in even worse shape than before, and the ruins of the Pizzaplex. But let's look closer at the ruins. Notice something missing from the damage? While I'm seeing a lot of decay, I don't see a lot of fire damage. If this building does burn down like we see in the burntrap ending, then where's all the fire damage? Same with Chica, she's down in the basement with the other animatronics during the boss fight. So why doesn't she have any visible fire damage? I guess you could call the black marks on her fire damage, but we see her and the other animatronics get them all throughout the night long before any fire gets involved. I think that's just the grime and dirt we see them getting throughout the night. So if the building wasn't burned down, then why was it closed? Well, one of the things that always shuts down Fazbear locations in the past is the investigation of missing children. And with the fact that it happened several times in the past, police are probably keeping a close eye on it. Even if the VR game was to dismiss the rumors to the public, there would still be several police reports and records of investigations happening. We see that children are still going missing from the Leave ending. Between the damage that we caused to both the animatronics and the pizzeria, it wouldn't be a surprise to have the place shut down for repairs and then just never have it reopen. Whether it be from lack of interest from the owners of Fazbear Entertainment or reallocating resources for a new project. So then why does Gregory need saving, and who is this blonde girl we see? While there isn't a whole lot of information outside of speculation, we can still offer up some ideas, even with the new ending. For one thing, we really don't know how many people are infected with the glitch trap virus. While we were able to free Vanessa, there could still be other people out there that need rescuing. After all, multiple playtesters were involved during the development of FNAF VR. Maybe we'll start to see a Followers of Afton cult and use this information we learned from the Princess Quest games to free them. Plus, if William Afton is still alive, maybe the extra time he'll be fully recovered and ready to start making his next move. Maybe he saw Gregory the night of Security Breach and realized there was something special about him that he needed. Or it could be as simple as him wanting some good old-fashioned revenge for all the damage she caused to the restaurant. And I'm sure that Vanessa is going to want revenge too for what happened to her, and have a lot of questions. I mean, we really don't know how long she was brainwashed, or what all Glitchtrap made her do before the night of Security Breach. We honestly just don't have enough information to make an informed decision. Either way, I really hope the Vandy ending ends up being the true canon one. I want to start seeing future games embrace new threats and villains rather than reviving William Afton over and over. The idea of a cult of Aftons being brainwashed to do his bidding is an interesting one, and opens up entirely new storytelling possibilities, like characters being double agents and making decisions that on the surface seem beneficial to our protagonist, only to find out that they were a trap or benefiting someone else entirely. Maybe some of the characters we once knew that are fighting against William Afton are now brainwashed and giving us false information, so we have to determine whose side of the story is honest and whose side's a lie. Either way, I think this series could really benefit from a break from William Afton and start exploring more ideas for villains and getting more experimental, just so long as we don't get another FNAF world. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This was my first time doing a video like this, and I actually had a lot of fun doing it. I might do more videos like this in the future on some other topics that I'd like to discuss, but let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!